I am Andrew McMahon. I play for a band called Jack's Mannequin. Well, I was born in Concord, Massachusetts. My family lived in Sudbury till I was about 3 or 4. I got involved in music. I was 9 years old. I started playing piano. I had a family member. My uncle passed away from skin cancer, and sort of the way I processed it was by playing piano, writing songs. So I started there and eventually took classical lessons and started my first band when I was in high school. Yeah, well, the band I started in high school was Sunday Corporate. Or my first band was sort of an incarnation thereof. But yeah, Sunday Corporate started out, so I was 16, 17 years old. And yeah, we started playing shows, did the Battle of the Bands, that kind of stuff, local churches, things like that, and eventually started playing kind of the local circuit around town, and then got signed. Spent 3 or 4 years touring and putting out records, and then started Jack's Mannequin, and been doing that now for 3 or 4 years.
And could you tell us the story behind the Dear Jack Foundation and how it came to be?
Yeah, well, I was diagnosed with leukemia in 2005, and spent obviously the better portion of that year and the following year kind of recovering from it, and realized that I had a fan base that was extremely committed to the cause. When I got sick, I sort of just put something up, and in lieu of flowers, since I couldn't actually get flowers to my room because of what I had. And so so I sort of put up a charity that a friend of mine's family worked for, that was a leukemia, blood cancer charity, and got a huge response and a lot of donations, and started seeing these homespun operations, these kids doing wristband projects, and Absolute Punk, this website, they did a wristband project, and sort of realized that there was enough attention and people were kind of trying to find outlets that I figured I would create one that was easy to access if they heard the story and it moved them enough that they really wanted to, to donate and help out, that this would be a place that they could do it. So that's what we do. We take the money and we basically redistribute it to charities that are doing good work, like the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, other charities as well.
I was thinking, what did this foundation of support from people mean to you when you were going through your ordeal?
Oh, it was huge. I mean, I think, knowing like when you're dealing with anything serious, that there are people out there pulling for you. You know what I mean? It's going to be it's going to have an impact on your fight. For me, I think I was always very optimistic and had a pretty positive outlook throughout that period of time. But there is sort of a intangible energy about knowing that there are a lot of people's thoughts that are with you, that I would say, was definitely factored into, my well-being and my motivation to keep moving forward with There's a family, actually, just a recent story. We do these walks with Leukemia Lymphoma Society called the Light the Night Walks, which is centered around Leukemia Awareness Month in September, and it's sort of one of our big partners with the foundation. And this family, who specifically even this boy's sister, this guy Matt Swartney, who also has leukemia or has a variation of a blood disease. His sister and their family rallied together to kind of head up this team in Orange County, where I come from. And I had heard rumblings that they were raising a lot of money and that they were doing all this stuff, were inspired by my story, but, their brother, obviously, they were making a statement to their brother who was dealing with this. And I showed up to the walk not really knowing that was what I was walking into, and met Matt and met Christine and their family, and they ended up raising, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of like $20,000 on their own, just through their efforts. Which was a huge contribution. We ended up doing over $100,000 in donations last year for Leukemia Lymphoma Society, just through the Jack's Mannequin team. But they were a huge part of that, and I think it speaks to the idea of family and the idea of friends, and what happens when a community really surrounds somebody, who isn't well, and tries to lift them up. And he's fought and been knocked down a million times, and right now he's thriving, and I say a prayer every day, that he continues to.
And what is the significance behind Dear Jack?
Well, I mean, it was definitely a part of why I named Jack's Mannequin. Jack's Mannequin, yeah. Obviously not even knowing at the time what I would face down the road, but yeah, the kid who I wrote Dear Jack for was a close friend of mine's little brother who I was sort of kind of, you know, a little bit of a big brother to in high school and stuff, and hung around a lot. And he actually had childhood leukemia. What I was writing for in that song was kind of just things that he was going through later on in life. But, you know, and he's now grown man and hasn't been sick for, God, probably 2 decades or something, you know what I mean? But, but the irony being that, you know, I ended up kind of getting the disease, you know, about a year later after I'd named the band.
Is from all your experience in life, if you could speak directly to the next generation and offer one piece of advice, what would it be?
I don't know,
That's
man.
the deep question.
To you, the next generation. Jesus. You know, I'm no authority on things of that nature. You know, I don't know that I could tell a generation a piece of advice on how to live. You know, I think, you know, what goes around comes around. You know, as sort of a you know, you can say it a million different ways. You can call it karma, you can call it whatever, but the reality is what you put out is what's going to come back. You know, so just do your best to make sure what you put out is good.
Awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for including me. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Appreciate it.
Conquered Mass, baby.